Hello, my name is Sandie Zuniga Nierenberg. I go by she, her pronouns. I am the CEO and the founder here at Each Green Corner. So Each Green Corner's mission in a nutshell is to use any available land that we can find to convert it to sustainable food producing agriculture for the purpose of sharing and spreading food insecurity throughout San Mateo County. So we work a lot with school districts, we work with residences and other nonprofit groups, all in partnership to further these aims for both more climate resiliency and food security here in San Mateo. When we're thinking about our Living Campus program, which is our schools focused program, our goals are not only to convert land to sustainable agricultural uses, to produce food for donation, but a main portion of our goal is also to use these spaces to create outdoor educational environments where students can be immersed in their food system. It is so important for children, even at the youngest ages, to understand where food comes from and whether that be, and also how to grow food. And that can either be as a source to empower them to help their own families and their own communities if they are in a place where they're experiencing food insecurity. We can put even in the youngest hands a tiny bit of power of something they can do to contribute to their family through growing food. Or if they're not experiencing food insecurity, creating awareness for students that food comes from somewhere. It is not something, to be wasted. It's not something to be kind of forgotten about, because the process of growing, creating food has a tremendous impact on our environment and has a tremendous impact on our communities. So we currently have, 8 operational school sites throughout San Mateo County. All of our school sites right now are focused in the southern coast or the southern bay side of San Mateo County. So we work with San Carlos School District, we work with Sequoia Union High School District, and Redwood City School District, as well as a preschool program called Family Connections. We are in the process of onboarding our first site in the North County, which is Portola Elementary School and the San Bruno Park School District, which we're very excited about. It's going to be a huge installation for us. And we're also bringing on some other schools throughout our existing districts, as well as some new districts. So when we're working with schools, we generally start with garden spaces that are either going to be totally new gardens, so we call those our new conversions, or with gardens that had once existed but had fallen into disrepair or an unmaintained, more wild state, where we come in and are revitalizing a garden space. So we come in and we do design work if design work needs to be done, and then through 100% through volunteers, we power through installation or revitalization. And then once that is done, we move into a maintenance phase where we are supporting the school site by helping to organize monthly volunteer work days, and then also checking on the sites on a weekly basis, just to keep everything up and running, so that the only thing school staff needs to think about is how they can get out into the garden and enjoy the spaces. We're also working in partnership with San Carlos School District with technical advice from County Office of Education on developing our Food Explorers program, which is an actual curriculum program starting at K-3, but will be expanded to K-8 eventually, to partner to use in our garden spaces as well as in the classrooms, so that students can understand the basics of food systems in kind of a broad survey sort of way, get that introduction to the food systems, make it easy for teachers or parent volunteers, whomever is going to be delivering the lessons, to get kids outside and to use these gardens, so that students can see how our food choices and how our broader food system really impacts the environment and impacts sustainability and climate resiliency, as well as the types of things that students can be doing in their day-to-day choices, so that they are empowered to have a positive impact on their environment. So this type of sustainability work we think is vital in a school setting and school community for a number of reasons. One, we are creating demonstration gardens where community members and students, staff can all come together and see and learn in a hands-on way how to maintain a sustainable garden. The vast majority of our volunteers are not gardening experts and don't have experience gardening. And so we really strive to create an open, risk-free learning space for people to come and literally just get their hands dirty and learn what it is to garden. We're totally risk-free in that, we're a place where people can make mistakes. We're a place where people can come with the most basic of questions and be learning together with people at their same level, as well as learning from each other and having volunteers who have experience and can share that experience and knowledge with their peers. So the community building aspect, we think, in the school environment, creating a multi-generational community-based group on school sites and making schools community hubs, we think is huge to the school learning environments as well as the broader community. Importantly, those hubs then lead into another reason why we think this sort of sustainability work is vital, which is the education. We do have people who come to us who want to garden. We have students who maybe are going to be bringing this knowledge back home, and we want to make sure that people are learning about sustainable agriculture. So all of our agricultural methods are sustainable. They are all in an organic and permaculture inspired method. I don't say that we have organic sites because none of our sites are certified organic, nor are we seeking that. But everything we do is around the concepts of low water, drip irrigation system, planting plants appropriate for the environment, using natural soil building and pest control methods through companion planting, beneficial insects, soil health, and things like that. Using crop rotation and other kind of crop rotation and beneficial companion plantings to create agricultural ecosystems that fold in with their native plant friends, to create systems where we can be growing plants and we can be growing food while benefiting the local ecosystem, while having a minimal and highly efficient impact on our broader environment from a water perspective. And then also oftentimes just taking really environmentally unproductive, I might say, spaces, turf spaces, dirt patches that are not maintained or planted with native plantings, just really untended areas, and turning them into carbon sinks, turning them into high production, low water, low waste environments, and creating ecosystems and environments for our native animals and insects as well to flourish in. So we're creating these spaces and we're teaching people those types of methods so that they can then bring that learning back to their own homes and to other gardens that they might be operating in. So my advice to schools who are looking to advance living schoolyards, particularly garden spaces that are focused on agriculture and food production, would be to take their enthusiasm, but spread it out over the long haul. I think many of our school gardens are gardens that were once flourishing because they had a single champion or maybe a small group of champions on campus to establish them. And once that champion is no longer on campus, if they don't have the continuity and that longer term vision and plan, then the school gardens become a negative, kind of dilapidated space on the campus as opposed to the thriving green space they could be. So my first piece of advice would be to find community partners or work with their districts to establish a more continuous maintenance person within the district, whether that be an AmeriCorps fellow or a specific, wellness director who spends time managing the garden, whether that be an official position with their PTA partnership for a volunteer position, or working with an outside group like us who does that sort of longer term maintenance assistance and administrative assistance. Think about the longer term plan also, and kind of that midterm, think about the summer and planting things that are going to make it through the summer, or making sure that you have a team of people who can be coming through during the summer months so that things can be harvested and maintained. Summer is such a wonderful opportunity for schools to keep their communities connected with the school site through volunteering over the summer. So I think that's a huge opportunity. You just have to plan for that. And then I would think the last piece of advice would be when they're choosing a place to put their garden, if it's a kind of single, contained garden space, make sure it's somewhere that's high traffic and highly visible. A lot of times we see school gardens that are in the farthest reach corner of campus, and it makes it, kind of out of sight, out of mind, especially if they don't have a champion who's going out there. I think that's one of the biggest pitfalls of creating a garden space, is not putting it somewhere where it's going to be at the forefront of everybody's mind, both to get that enjoyment and that immersive experience and being surrounded by the garden, whether it just be walkways. We have an herb garden and citrus walkway at one of our elementary schools, and the students love to walk by and just touch the herbs and see the fruit growing as they're walking up a ramp from their main office. Other gardens we have right in the middle of campus, or we plant trees right in the middle of campus to both provide shade while also taking advantage of that space for growing food. So make sure that these spaces are active, that they're lived in, because the more that they're seen, the more people are going to be excited about them and want to participate and want to help with the maintenance of them. And also, the flip side of that coin is the less likely they already get forgotten and then fall into a state of disrepair or lack of maintenance. Our plans going forward are mostly about scaling. Our first few years in operation have been about testing our concept and working out any kinks, making it as efficient and positive process as possible for our school site partners and our district partners especially. And now we have a program that we hear great things from. People love working with us, and we have schools fairly frequently coming to us asking to partner with us. So our next steps are to be able to scale up internally with our operational capacity so that we can meet the demand in the community for this kind of continuous administrative and maintenance support that our school community so desperately needs. So that these can be gardens that are sustainable both environmentally, but also over time from a maintenance perspective. So we are excited to do that. We'll be bringing in hopefully some more Climate Corps and AmeriCorps fellows into our program for the coming year. And we're also very excited from the perspective of our Living Campus program to launch the pilot of our Food Explorers program, which is that curriculum program, this coming fall as a pilot in the San Carlos School District. So we've been working really hard to conceptualize, to scope, and to create that curriculum over the last year and a half. And so we're so thrilled to be partnering and to see that get in front of students, to get students out in the gardens on a more equitable plane, so that all students can come out and use the garden spaces, regardless of whether they happen to have a teacher who's a champion of the garden. And we also want to give teachers that power to come out into a space that maybe they're unfamiliar with, or maybe they don't have the curriculum or they don't have the experience to make them feel confident. We're really excited to put this tool in those teachers' hands too, to make it easier for them to get outside and embrace and enjoy these spaces as well. So that's what 22 and 23 brings for us, and we're really thrilled about that.